sank. One of them, an 18-year-old young woman, drowned in the icy water. The other three, ages 20 and 22, were treated at Hartford Hospital. Harley Carnes, CBS News.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, where each week you will find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and their staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom, located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. For those of you who may be listening for the first time to this weekly show, during the hour we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today we're going to start off the show talking about housing and buying homes with the folks from Nahalio, Maui. And in the second half of the show, we're going to talk about the success stories of Aloha House, Malama Family Recovery Center, and
Maui Youth and Family Services.
There we go. And that was Francis Duberstein helping me out with the tail end of that one. Going back to Nahalio, Maui, we've got John Anderson, who's the executive director of the organization.
Aloha.
And should I say outgoing executive director?
Soon to be outgoing executive director. I'll be stepping down at the end of the month and turning over the day-to-day operations to Cassandra Abdul, who's with us today.
Hi, Cassandra.
And my pleasure to introduce her.
Aloha.
How are you doing?
Great. Very excited.
These aren't big shoes to fill or anything, are they?
Oh, they are.
They are.
Yes.
You know, you were founder. I mean,
I
you were
was
one of the
one
founders.
of the founding members, yes.
So that's an extra big shoe.
Yes.
When you consider that. And this all started, what are we talking about, 8 years ago?
Just 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
And we formed, it was a true grassroots effort. 20 individuals got together at the first meeting and decided that Maui could benefit from a community land trust for permanently affordable housing, not temporarily affordable housing. And that group of 20 quickly turned into a group closer to 60 people who got involved in a retreat and planning for the organization and volunteer work. And we took an idea and have brought it to a reality. We have 34 single-family homes in our program now, and that number of households benefiting from it.
That's wonderful. And for those out there who don't understand or don't know, maybe haven't even heard of the term, Community Land Trust.
Yes, the Community Land Trust. It's a model for affordable housing that was put together to accomplish the affordability in perpetuity. Virtually all the other models that have been used throughout the country involve deed restrictions, which can only be for a fixed period of time. 10 years, maybe 15 years at the outside that way. But then the property reverts to the market at that point and sells for market rate. And we've seen that happen here on Maui for many, many developments over the years that were built as affordable developments to begin with 10-year deed restrictions. And at the end of 10 years, they are now being sold at market. And we still have a dramatic need for more affordable housing. And if we allow the affordable housing to go to market, we will never catch up. We will never get in front of the problem. We'll always be running after trying to catch it, and it will get away from us. The answer, we believe, is to develop housing that is affordable in perpetuity. And if public taxpayer dollars are going into subsidizing affordable housing, that is what we believe the community deserves, is affordability in perpetuity for those dollars, not just short-term temporary affordability.
Okay, so how does that allow the home to be sold for a lower price than a market rate house? You still got the same construction costs, land costs, etc.
Exactly. It takes a subsidy going in to develop the home. And we have focused for the last 5-6 years on rehabbing abandoned foreclosed homes because new construction really was ground to a halt in 2008 when the economy imploded. And we had to change our business plan, which was originally to work with developers on new construction. We changed our business plan to go after existing property that needed rehabilitation, that was an eyesore in the neighborhood, and putting low and moderate income families into those houses. We have found through our track record that it takes about $100,000 in subsidy, and this is coming true for the new construction that we're doing right now as well, that for $100,000 in subsidy, we can produce a permanently affordable home that is affordable to the workforce of our island and families earning between 80 and 120% of area median income. This is the target group that we have.
I noticed, I looked through on your website, and you've got, as you said, something like 30 homes that you have rehabbed. The prices all go from like $270 something to $310, I think I saw.
Our lowest priced homes were $225.
Oh, really?
And yes, we had 3 in Kahului that we sold at $225, 3-bedroom, 2-baths. And our highest sale price to date has been $330,000 for a very large 4-bedroom home in the Legends at Maui Lani. But these are affordable prices for families earning between 80 and 120% of area median income.
And you're able to sell them for that price because you're retaining the land.
That's correct. We retain ownership of the land, and the primary reason for doing that is to be able to accomplish that affordability in perpetuity. We use what's referred to as a sustainable ground lease, very different than a conventional ground lease, because our ground lease is homeowner friendly, not landowner friendly.
Right.
And conventional ground leases, which we're familiar with in our state, were written by the landowners to benefit the landowners, not the homeowner. But when you put together the terms and conditions of a ground lease, you can have them be homeowner friendly, as ours are. To give you an example of one of the huge differences between conventional leasehold and community land trust leasehold is at the end of the term, which is long, 99 years in our model, the heirs of the owner, if they choose not to extend the lease for another 99 years, which they have the right to do, we have to buy the house back from them for the price determined by the resale formula in the ground lease. Conventional leasehold, at the end of the term, the owner packs their bags and moves out with nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Everything reverts to the landowner. All the improvements, everything goes to the landowner. That's why conventional leasehold has a pretty, negative reputation in parts of the island, as it was done by the Bishop Estate and other estates. That, surrender clause, as it's called, means that conventional leasehold declines in value as time goes on and ultimately has zero value at the end of the term. Our leasehold never declines in value because the homeowner is always due the resale price as determined by the resale formula. And then Fannie Mae, who provides the financing for our homes, issued special guidelines for appraisers many years ago because the reality is the value of our leasehold is much higher than conventional leasehold. And when the appraisals are done correctly, our homeowners do not have to pay private mortgage insurance because even though they're coming in with only 5% down, the lender has the equity cushion that they're looking for because we're selling the houses for so much less than they're being appraised for. So it's creating that equity cushion that the lender demands. And if they don't have that cushion, they want mortgage insurance, which is expensive and hard to get and takes higher credit ratings. It's a deal killer, actually, for low and moderate income housing. We're able to avoid that because the lenders want a loan to value ratio, and our sale price is much lower than the value. So the lender's getting their equity cushion.
Sounds like a win-win.
From our experience, it is a win-win. The homeowners are saving as much as $250 a month on their monthly housing expense without having to pay for that. And when you're looking at the reality right now of what's happened to rents on our island, our homeowners' housing costs have been running between $1,600, $1,800 a month. but they're living in homes that are now renting for $2,800 a month, as much as $1,000 more a month for rent to let the landlord pay down his mortgage instead of the homeowner paying down their mortgage.
And at the end of the term, all you have is a stack of paid rent receipts.
Right, and nothing else.
That's it.
But our homeowners are earning equity by paying down their loan. They will share in any appreciation in value should they decide to sell. And if they choose not to sell and leave the property to their children, they can do that generation after generation.
Wow.
So it's long-term security for the homeowner. Nobody can evict them. Nobody can raise their rent. Nobody can make a decision that impacts them and the security of their housing. They are the homeowners.
One of the first questions, I guess, that would come to mind, given what you've said and how much better this lease is than the conventional one, what kind of a monthly payment do most of them look at for their lease?
That's
rent?
another benefit of the program. The ground rent is subsidized like the initial purchase price is. Our ground rent is currently $45 a month. Market rate would be more like $250 a month to pay for that leasehold interest, but we subsidize that as well. So our homeowners have, double affordability, subsidy getting in and lower maintenance, costs going on with the low ground rent.
But don't you wish you had 100 homes right at your disposal now?
That is our goal. And one of the goals of any community land trust is to get up to the number of homes that it's around 200, where that subsidized ground rent then will help sustain the organization from an administrative cash flow point of view. We're not there yet, but we're on our way. And we are modeling after our activities after successful successful community land trusts on the mainland that have built that type of inventory, that they are fully sustainable organizations. So I've had two goals in mind for the almost 10 years now that I've been involved in this organization. One, to develop as many permanently affordable homes as possible, and two, build a sustainable organization that will be here 30 years, 50 years, or 99 years from now.
Cassandra, it sounds like you're coming in at the right time.
Absolutely.
The ball is rolling forward and growing, and one of the things I think I saw not too long ago was a picture in the paper of the home that you're building.
Yes,
it's a brand new home.
Our prototype for the 12 we're preparing to build in Lahaina. We're building a house in Waikapu to be able to work with new construction, one up instead of 12 for the first time, and work with the contractors and material selection, floor plans, all those things that are so critical in development of residential property. So that house is within a couple weeks of being completed. We will be having an open house for the families who are on our qualified buyer list, who have gone through our 4-step program, and one of those families will be selected to buy that house.
Wow.
Brand new construction, 1,600 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and we haven't set the final price on it yet because we're waiting for the final construction costs to come in and all of that. But we're looking at a sale price of around $360,000, and this house will appraise for closer to $560,000.
That's incredible. Now, as you talked about your qualified buyers, they have to go through the 4 steps, which is basically 4 seminars, or it's more seminars. You got paperwork.
We have an initial 1-hour orientation seminar just to let everybody know how the model works, because it is unique, and they need to know that. And that's one of the philosophies we have. Our homeowners are provided copies of everything, all the documents, all the policies and procedures, the ground lease, way before they have to make a decision. So they get to know how the program works. They get to analyze all of the documents, and then when they are comfortable with it, they can move ahead. So step one is a 1-hour orientation seminar. Step two, they meet with a loan officer to become pre-qualified to find out what their borrowing power is and if they need to work on their credit or something like that. Step three is they take an 8-hour HUD-approved homeowner counseling course that teaches you how to do budgets and talks about maintenance and the obligations you have as a homeowner. And then the final step is to come meet with us at Nahale for it's about a 2-hour meeting to go over all the documents. The ground lease, you provided explanation of everything, summaries, and copies of all of the documents. Once a family has gone through that 4-step program, they're in our pool of buyers, and they are invited to private open houses when we have a house finished. We just finished our last rehab of a house in the Legends at Maui. We had 8 families who applied to buy that house. We have a selection policy and a selection committee that everybody knows how that works, and we just opened escrow yesterday with the family for that purchase. And this is a family that has been working with us for 2 years. Fortunately, they were patient, and their 2 years of waiting and participating in our program now have resulted in their going into escrow to own a house. Some of our families have been in our program for 6 months. Some takes a couple years to get them matched into the right house.
We need to take a short break. We'll do that, and we'll be back, and we'll talk more about how you get into housing with Nahale o Maui.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again today on Maui Nonprofit Notes. We're talking story right now with John Anderson and Cassandra Abdul of Nahale o Maui about their new home that they're finishing construction on momentarily and the process, how it works. And one of the questions I asked during the break was, could somebody call your office after this show, hearing this show, and get lined up to get into that pool? And the answer is definitely no. Because of the 4 steps.
Not for the Waikapu house, because that's coming up within a couple weeks to be exposed.
But
and it's going to take them a little time to get through, but no time like the present to get started for the next houses that will be coming along.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier about 12 houses in Lahaina.
Yes.
That's the project that has been stalled for, 3 years?
Yes, it has, but it's looking like we're getting to the end of the litigation, and that it is going to, actually be able to go into construction within probably the next 6 months.
And that litigation did not involve Nahale o Maui.
No,
it was between the owner of the property and some
actually, it
folks.
was between a resident of the area and the land use
land
commission.
Use committee. That's right.
The developer was not a party to the suit. Was not named in the suit. It was alleging irregularities in the land use commission's procedure. So, but whenever there's litigation involving a property, the title companies are not going to insure the title, and we're not able to close escrow. We're in contract, we're in escrow to buy 12 of those lots. As soon as the litigation is cleared up, we will close escrow and we will begin construction on those 12 houses.
Now, will all those 12 houses be the same, or
no. No, they're going to be, we have to satisfy two different income categories in that, and we are going to do majority of 4-bedroom houses, but we will also be doing some 3-bedroom houses that will be handicap compliant. Accessible. Yes, thank you. So we wanted to have a mix, and so most will be 2-story, but some will be 1-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and then we'll have 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath.
Wow, that's wonderful. Now, the funding's in place? You're ready to go as soon as they say go?
Yeah, our funding's in place for our acquisition of the land.
Right.
We're still working with the county on some help in funding the construction costs.
Gotcha. So when these homes are done, when these homes are done, the families that are now in your program will be ready for those.
This. And families coming into the program will be ready for this.
Because we're looking at, what, a couple of years
it's going to
before
be
these
at
houses
least
are done?
a year to a year and a half.
Okay, so this 4-step process that you have to get them ready can well be done.
Oh, yes.
In time.
Anybody who wants to be able to participate in that opportunity, now's the time to get started, and they can be in line. Our next orientation seminar is coming up in March. On March 19th, it's a Saturday. It will be at the Cameron Center, and anybody can sign up for that either on our website, www.nahaleomaui.org, or can call our office at 244-6110. But the next opportunity will be in March, on March 19th. It's a 1-hour seminar. You will learn what it takes to get pre-qualified for a loan. We'll have a loan officer talking to you about getting prepared for that. And then I will be introducing the model for everyone to understand how the Community Land Trust model works.
Exciting times, huh? So, Cassandra, tell us a little bit about yourself. What prompted you to even apply for this position?
Well, I actually come from Maui.
Okay.
Our family comes from Happy Valley, and I had an opportunity to return home to Maui, so I did from Honolulu. And I've been involved with subdivisions here in Maui, and also worked for a trust company for 12 years in Honolulu. And the idea of providing affordable housing to people who cannot get into the market holds great appeal to me. So I actually didn't even see their ad. One of their board members was talking to a friend of his, and his wife heard about it, and then she called me and said, you know what's coming up? And I thought, wow, that's just perfect. I would love to do something like that.
Wonderful small town Maui.
Yes.
That's great. And so you checked into it, and
I did.
Had your interview, and fortunate enough they said, please join us.
And here I am.
There you go.
Yes.
Now, are there classes and things that you need to go to learn more about the intricacies of the land trust? Or how do you acquire that kind of knowledge? Because it's a new thing.
Well, when I worked at the trust companies, I worked extensively with the old-fashioned land trusts that were very geared toward the landowner and not the homeowner. So I have a basic understanding, and I've read through our documents here at Nahaleo Maui, and John and I have talked about it extensively, and there are national organizations that also have information, so I spend a lot of time on the internet reading their material too.
So you can verify what he's saying, that this is the wonderful way to go.
Oh, it's wonderful. It really is great.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Now, I know that out of again, going back to the 30-some homes that you have placed people into, I think you had one that was sold by someone who needed to move to the mainland.
Yes.
And the question came up immediately, here's the test of this lease. Does it really provide for the owner to come out with something, or does it gobble up whatever proceeds are there?
We had our resale, and the resale formula worked exactly as we had hoped it would work. One of the challenges we had in putting together the resale formula was to balance the needs of the homeowner to build equity over time but our need as an organization to keep the property affordable for the next homeowner. So it's a delicate balance in between, but we've arrived at a formula that we feel measures up to that. And the one experience we had, the homeowner had lived in the property for 3 years. She got married, her husband was, had to work in Texas, and she had to move. And so she called me one day and said, "John, I have good news and bad news. Good news is I fell in love and got married. Bad news is we have to leave Maui, and we have to sell our beautiful home." So we pulled out the ground lease, went through the steps in the ground lease, got a new appraisal on it. It had gone up in value in the 3 years that she lived in it. She had also paid down her mortgage for those 3 years, so she created equity by earning, it's called earned equity when you pay your mortgage down, and she got that. She got her down payment back, and she got a share of the appreciation. We bought the house back from her. It was painless on her part because she didn't have to deal with any buyers or anything like that. She closed escrow and got seller proceeds that were several $1,000s more than she came into the transaction with 3 years earlier, and she was on her way. And we put the next family in to the home. They're enjoying it now, and this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in the Legends at Maui Lani. We sold it for under $300,000 the first time, and we resold it 3 years later for under $300,000 the second time. So we were able to preserve the affordability, but the first homeowner did get a share of the equity and was on her way.
Wow. So that's the truth in the whole thing, right? It really works.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked. She was happy, we were happy, and the next family was very happy.
Right.
And this is the significant difference between our program and the way deed-restricted programs have been done. There have been very few properties that have affordability's been preserved when it's been a deed restriction type of thing. Most of those houses have been allowed to go to market. And a windfall for the homeowner, but a loss to the community.
Gone forever. Yeah. Couple minutes to go. Last thoughts before I have to say goodbye to you folks.
Well, one of the things that I'm going to be able to do as I'm stepping down from the full-time position into a consulting and a part-time position with the organization is there's some special projects that we've had that we wanted to spend time on. For example, we have already started work on an affordable farming program for Maui, where the land trust will own the farmland, but the owner will own the house and the barns and the equipment and all of that. We have several models on the mainland that I'll be researching and investigating and bringing that report back. I'll be researching the community land trusts in the mainland that are doing rentals. Land trusts are good stewards of the land, and many of the land trusts have rental homes in their inventory as well, and they are permanently affordable rentals. So while we started out with the ownership model, because the consultants that we used 9 years ago said focus on the primary model, and then as you are successful, branch out from there, because it is a very flexible model. And we followed that advice, and now is the time for us to look at these other opportunities, whether it be ag land preservation or rental property. Some community land trusts even own facilities like the Cameron Center that they rent out to other nonprofits. And so there are examples throughout the country of how successful this model is in being stewards of the land and doing what is desired to be done with that land.
There's some people, when you talk about it's a land trust, you won't own the land, just go ballistic over the idea that they're not going to have the whole package, because that's what mom and dad always had, and that's what everybody they know has had. And I hope that today we've dispelled some of the issues that people first think about because of the past and the different model that you've got going, and we'll come and at least come to the orientation on March 19th and check it out and see. I think they'll be greatly surprised. I know we've worked with you on some new homes. Mm-hmm. And our homeowners are thrilled.
Yes, and our homeowners have exclusive possessory use of that land. No one else can use it. We don't go on it. It's not common area. They just technically don't own it. But when you talk to them, it makes no difference.
Right.
They have a beautiful home that they own, that they can do with what they want, that they can live in as long as they want, and their housing costs are affordable.
Right.
And if it's because they don't own the land, but they have exclusive use of it, that's fine with them.
We're all temporary here, aren't we? In life. Why do we have to own the land? That's a basic question, as long as we have total use of it.
Well, the Hawaiian culture did not have ownership of land
Right.
until not that many years
That's
ago,
true.
when the Great Mahele happened, and that was the first ownership other than the kingdom at that point. So, what we're doing is not really foreign at all. It's very much in concept of the culture of the islands.
Right. Thank you so much for being with us today, and John, good luck in your future endeavors, and Cassandra. Hey, we hope to have you back on the show as you get started with Lahaina, or if anything else comes up that you want to come on and talk about. Not necessarily new and different, but more.
I look forward to it. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Aloha.
We're going to switch gears now. We're going to be talking with Frances Duberstein, and she's got just all kinds of good news that she's going to share with us. We first talked about Aloha House, but for those of you who may not be familiar with the three agencies that are were brought together by the unification process that went through, 5-6 years
It
ago?
was in 2008. Well, actually, Aloha House and Malama Family Recovery Center merged in the early 2000s, and then in 2008 is when Maui Youth and Family Services joined the group. So now it's a tri-agency.
Tri-agency. So
Yeah.
she's going to give us, and I love this, the unified vision. Sometimes when you look at these different agencies, you say, what have they got in common?
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, every individual has the help they need to achieve and maintain a foundation for lasting recovery and well-being. That's what you're looking to do and to get
Absolutely.
out there in the community.
Yeah.
So you guys are really working hard at that, and I think you've got some statistics to tell us how it's going.
Yeah, well, when I was thinking about coming in today, and as the new year starts, I think it's really nice to look back and reflect on accomplishments from the last year, and so there were just some highlights I wanted to point out. For example, at Aloha House we have crisis services. So in 2015, we had our counselors helped more than 600 adults and children experiencing a crisis. And this includes what are called crisis mobile outreach visits. So if someone is in a crisis situation, they can call this phone number any time of day, 365 days a year, and if needed, within 45 minutes, an Aloha House staff member will be dispatched to their home. And in 1 year, we complete approximately 500 of these crisis mobile outreach visits our Aloha House staff does.
Now, crisis is...
So it could be someone who's saying, I feel suicidal, I'm anxious, I feel like I can't deal with what's going on, and a number of things can happen. They could call, and it's determined that maybe the best thing is for them to make an appointment to see someone the next week, or it's necessary for someone to come out to their home. And then with that, you can get access to crisis counseling, hospitalization if needed, and then that's one way to link up with other Aloha House treatment programs, such as our residential treatment program, if they're dealing with a substance use issue, or outpatient. We have a lot of outpatient services. So it's really just anyone in that situation where they feel like they need help and they don't have to be alone.
Is this, what's the age group we're talking about?
It's anyone. I believe that, I think that it's of all ages, although I'm not.
I mean, it was obviously be an adult or a young adult that would make the phone call.
Yes.
But it could be someone in their family that's having the crisis.
Yes, exactly. We very much want to work with families and do work with families. So it's not that you have to be the one experiencing a crisis, because oftentimes when our counselors will go out there, and if the family's there, you want to figure out what exactly is going on. And it's not just limited to that one person. It has a lot to do with their surroundings. And let's say then they do enter treatment. If it is appropriate, having the family stay involved is very much emphasized by our staff. So that's just one number. We have a program called Community-Based Case Management at Aloha House, and this is for adults with serious persistent serious persistent mental illness, and a lot of them happen to be homeless. So we have psychiatric services, case management, nursing services, helping people get back on their feet, find a place to live, find a job. And in 1 year, we help between 600 and 700 adults through that one program, community-based case management at Aloha House. So those are a couple highlights. We have a lot of people know Aloha House for our substance abuse treatment, because that's sort of how it started, and we still have a very strong both residential and outpatient services. So in 1 year, more than 800 people will receive substance abuse addiction services through our residential and outpatient treatment services. So this will be group and family counseling, recovery education, psychological services, assistance in developing sober support in the community, so that once they leave us, they never really, they don't leave, they can always come back, but they feel like there is a community out there that they can feel comfortable in their new life. So that's sort of a few highlights for Aloha House.
Okay, hold on. We got to take a short break. We'll be back, and we'll continue the rundown on what happened last year.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
The music does get to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know. It's over the holidays we do Christmas music and so forth.
Oh.
And it's like, that's really cool, but I miss this music.
Yeah.
So it's good to get it back. Yeah. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, and we welcome everybody back to the last quarter of our show for today. We're talking with Frances Duberstein about the tri-agency that houses Maui Youth and Family Services, Aloha House, and Malama Family Recovery Center. And we're learning some of the details of what they accomplished last year. And there's a common thread that seems to be going through these first two activities that you were talking about, and that is we're talking about like 2 a day.
Yes. Yeah, when we talk about these crisis mobile outreach visits, and there was, around 500, well, there's not even 500 days in the year.
Right.
And so, yes, it's something that is, and that's what's unique, is because someone goes into a crisis, it's not necessarily Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And so you want people to know that they can call anytime, and they really can. I do want to give that crisis mobile outreach number.
Let's do that.
It is 1-800-753-6879. And again, this is available any time of day, any day of the week, even holidays. If you're going through a crisis or you know someone who is, call. You will talk to a live person on the phone. It's actually a state-run program, but then our counselors, the Aloha House counselors, are the ones who, if it is deemed necessary, will be dispatched to the person's home within 45 minutes. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So, thinking about how the days of the year go, I imagine there are certain periods of time where there's more access or more need than others, just because of, I like Christmas, I assume. We
Yeah.
assume that the pressure starts to hit at Christmas time, whether it's family pressure or money pressure or whatever. And so there may be a more than, and so when we say there's like 2 a day, that's not a consistent. You can't be consistent in something like that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not sure what the trends are throughout the year, but I would imagine that is the case, because even though it's sunny here during Christmas time, it can be a very hard, emotional time for a lot of people.
A lot of folks.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were about ready, before the break, you were ready to go on to one of the other agencies?
Yeah. So, in this tri-agency, or as I sometimes call it, the three-headed monster, we also have Malama Family Recovery Center, also known as Malama Namakua Akeki. And this is the only women-specific addiction treatment center on the island, and is the only place where young children can live with their mothers in residential treatment while they are getting help, so they don't have to give up their kids in order to get better. And we have a program called Baby Safe, that stands for Substance Abuse Free Environment, which is 100% supported through donations. And what it is women who are pregnant or parenting, especially for women who are pregnant, we make sure that they have access to treatment, prenatal care services like pre-delivery tours at the hospital, visits with their, OBGYN, as well as case management services, anything they need to get clean and sober so that they can give birth to healthy babies. But we work with a lot of women who are parents, and so, the next time they get pregnant, now they know more about where they can go if they start to slip back into their old patterns. So this program, the Baby Safe program, it used to be a statewide program, and funding was eliminated in 2009, and so we couldn't do it anymore. But in 2012, we got it was about a $21,000 to $24,000 grant from the HMSA Foundation, and that allowed us to bring the Baby Safe program back. And since then, we've been able to secure more donations, like from March of Dimes Foundation and some very generous supporters, that has kept this program alive. And so just last year, we had more than 50 women, and 50 might not seem like a lot, but this is intensive case management, intensive education classes about what happens if you use drugs or alcohol when you are pregnant. What are the long-term side effects? And then once these women give birth, we are helping them with continuing on their recovery, but also providing, someone gives birth, there's so many emotions. I don't have any kids, so I haven't personally experienced it, but I know that in those first few months after giving birth, it's just a whole range of emotions that can very easily trigger someone to relapse. And a lot of our clients have burned their bridges, so they don't have family and a support system to rely on. So that's where we step in to make sure that their baby is healthy and that they stay healthy. And if their baby does test positive for alcohol or drug, effects from use during pregnancy, we know where the women can take their children to help them overcome those developmental issues that will inevitably come up as a result. But we don't make these women feel like, oh, you're a bad mom, you're a bad person because your baby is not as healthy as it could be. You're a good person because you're doing what you can to get help. And so this program, Baby Safe, is very near and dear to our heart, and we have a Baby Safe coordinator who will actually just go out in the community and meet with pregnant women who maybe just are too afraid to come in, but they're too afraid to make that first step. But she'll say, okay, well, these are the services we have. If you need us for anything, just call. You can always come and get help. So
that first step is often the hardest.
Yes.
We don't like to feel we can't take care of ourselves.
And especially if you're pregnant, you feel a lot of guilt, and you feel like it's, like I said, like you're a bad person. And we want these women to know, by coming and getting help, that's the opposite. They are doing what's in the best interest of their baby and for themselves. So, yeah, that first step can be very hard, but fortunately our Baby Safe coordinator is one of my favorite people in the world. Her name is Megan Morrow, and she just relates to these ladies and tells them, you can talk to me. And she's a mother herself, so she can relate to them on that level as well. And there's times when our clients will give birth, and Megan's the one there in the hospital with her. And we've had some really generous donations from individuals and companies of baby supplies and things for babies. So a woman gives birth, that's just the beginning, of this new recovery lifestyle. Malama Family Recovery Center in total, in 1 year service, between 100 and 120 women, which may not sound like a lot, but that's because we have our residential program. Women can live there up to 6 months, again, with their children, only place on the island that's possible. And then they can graduate to sober living homes where they can stay up to a year. So we work with clients for a long amount of time. That's why maybe the numbers might be less, but the stories and the impact is huge still.
Yeah, right. So if they take advantage of the full program, we're talking about 18 months.
They could potentially
that they could be there and be helping each other out, as well as learning for themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And then they go out. Are these basically single mothers at this point?
It depends.
They can have families.
Yes, they can. And if it's appropriate, if we feel like their family should be a part of the recovery steps, we bring them in, because in reality, if that's where they're going to return after they leave Malama, then they need to be a part of what we're doing with them. So we have a lot of parenting classes, and the fathers can join in. It, again, only when it's appropriate. But we have a lot of women as well who have lost their children. They've lost custody of their children, and we work with them to regain custody, make sure they're doing everything they need to do to get healthy. And, we do supervised visits and give them parenting classes, any resources they need. But to go back to your question, it's a wide variety. We have women who are single, and we have women who, are married or have boyfriends, and each person gets a different treatment plan.
Right.
Based on their specific circumstances.
Gotcha.
The staff is so dedicated and will go out of their way more than you can even believe for each individual woman. So.
And that's the special step that it takes. Yes,
it does. And they work in an environment where you have little kids running around and babies screaming and crying, and I'm always amazed when I visit them, and they are just so caring, because it's about creating a nurturing environment for these kids who have often been through a lot of traumatic experiences due to their parents' drug use, and making it so while their moms are getting better, they are healing as well.
Right. Do you, and you may not know the answer to this, but it popped into my head.
Sure.
Reoccurring? I mean, is there ever a time when somebody comes back through the program again?
Yeah, I don't know the exact statistics off the top of my head.
But they can if the situation arises.
Absolutely. And we do. We have women who, because women can also get services on an outpatient basis. They don't have to live with us.
Okay.
But I just want to throw that in there. But we do. That's a huge thing that we stress. If, let's say, they're living in our therapeutic living program and they leave, they can call anytime and physically come back, and that does happen. We do have that happen. And our clinical director there, Dr. Lisa Panictera, who's one of the most inspiring people I've ever met in my life, she says, we are that safe place that they can come to no matter what. They don't have to feel ashamed. And so that's very much stressed during their treatment, is even, let's say you're just going through a bad day and you need to talk to someone, come back. Let's say you slipped up and you relapsed. Call us. We will help you.
Right.
They never have no place to turn.
That's an interesting sentence, but that's it.
Yeah.
And that's good for them, because at the end of their stay there, the door doesn't lock behind them. It's always open in case, because we know things happen.
Yeah, because relapse with it, when it comes to addiction, relapse happens, and it's a part of the disease, and it can take several times being in treatment for it to, I don't know if the word stick, but for it.
That's the word I thought.
Yeah, but no, the door does not close,
Right.
and I think that, and I've talked to some former clients who said that, that was one thing that sticks out in their mind, and there's certain counselors who they became close to while they were getting treatment, and those are the ones they'll reach out to once they're back out there and they just need some extra support.
Great. Wow. What a program for mothers, new mothers, as well as mothers, ongoing mothers.
Yes,
Or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Once a mother, always a mother.
Yeah.
Cool. What else you got for me?
So I've talked about Aloha House. I've talked about Malama Family Recovery Center, and the third arm of this three-legged or whatever, three-headed monster, the third head, is Maui Youth and Family Services. And this is a program where we help young people with addiction issues, young people who are homeless, aging out of the foster care system. We have prevention programs, try to get it when they're in middle school, develop friendships in an environment where drug use is not the popular thing to do. So we have what's called therapeutic living program and emergency shelter, and these are actual certified therapeutic parents, foster parents. So they go through a whole training process. And last year we had about 50 teenagers in Maui go through the Maui Youth and Family Services therapy, foster care, and emergency shelter program. We have a program called independent living program. That's for youth aging out of foster care, helping them with the most basic things from getting a driver's license to getting into school, finding a place to live, finding a job. And every year we have about 30 kids go through that program, and we will work with them for sometimes a few years because they don't have that stable environment to support them as they, go out into the quote-unquote real world. And one last program I wanted to highlight is we have what's called school-based substance abuse and addiction treatment. So this is a confidential program. We're at almost all public and middle and high schools in Maui County. We have Maui Youth and Family Services counselors there on site, and kids who are dealing with issues related to drugs, or maybe they have family members they can go to our counselors and talk to them and get help. Like I said, it's confidential, so they don't have to feel fear, reprisal or getting in trouble for maybe they tried something and they feel like, it's things are getting out of control.
Right.
So between 400 and 500
wow.
kids go through that program every year through Maui Youth and Family Services.
So now, can this be like a brother or sister to somebody who is trying drugs and they just want to know what the potential problems could be for them?
Absolutely. Or
Okay.
they're trying it
They
and
are.
now, or maybe they don't feel like there's a problem, but they've been identified, or someone recommends you might want to talk to someone,
Right.
and then we're available. But yes, it can be a family member.
One thing I can say for sure is that there's never any downtime at the tri-agency organization you work for.
That's absolutely true. But the stories and the lives saved and changed
Right.
are just amazing. And
It's wonderful that we have the tri-agencies and the organizations of Maui Youth and Family Services, Aloha House, and Malama Family Recovery. Is there one phone number somebody can call to find out about any of these?
yeah, so I would recommend actually calling my phone number. So that's what is my phone number? It is, sorry, it is 808-579-8414, extension 8102. And my name's Frances. So you'll reach me and I can answer any questions or find someone who can answer your question.
Great. Thank you so much, Frances, for being on with us.
Thank
and
you so much.
Sharing the good news of the help that's out there. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. We want to thank you all for joining us today as we talked with the folks from Nahali o Maui and with Francis from the tri-agencies of Maui Youth and Family Services, Aloha House, and Malama Family Recovery Center. Join us again, please, next week, same time, same place, when we'll talk with representatives of 2 more agencies. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Again, thank you for joining us. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.